How y'all doing? This is Derek Kwan here, the Executive Director at Your Lead Center of Kansas, and it is my absolute pleasure and honor to be welcoming to this Zoom interview today Mr. Chris Crenshaw, longtime trombone player with the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra with Wynton Marsalis, as well as an amazing composer and arranger, and just has the best ear in the music. That's what I've learned over time. So, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time today. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome. So, are you in your home state of Georgia right now?
Yes, I am. My hometown of Thompson, Georgia. I'm here. Been here since March. It's been kind of a roller coaster of emotions and a roller coaster of events. You know, especially with the two that we have going on at the same time. One in the world, one in the United States, obviously. But
definitely,
we're keeping on trucking along, and we're doing as well as we can. We're trying.
Beautiful. And your family's doing well?
Yeah, family's doing well. We're trying to stay motivated with things. My daughter just had a basketball tournament a couple of weeks ago. We were able to get in one safely. We were able to win, and so that was a plus. It was good to get to see some of her teammates and her friends again.
That's beautiful.
Long time.
That's beautiful, man. So speaking of basketball in March, it's a perfect segue into our first topic of the day, and that's the Rock Chalk Suite. Right. And you played a very integral role in this whole project. So you actually composed the very first movement of the album called "The Wise Guy," right?
Right.
And tell me a little bit about your impressions of the project itself and some of your approach to that movement.
Well, me being a basketball fan and a music lover, it's like peas and carrots for me. I love playing the game. I love watching the game. I even love studying the game, as I've gotten to do over these last few months with COVID having us down.
Right.
It gives me another eye, just give me another perspective of how to approach the game and how to train others to play the game at a higher level. But in terms of the Rock Chalk Suite and the Wise Guy, it was something that was brought upon to us by Wynton Marsalis and obviously your input and your vision of having this together with such an esteemed program as the Kansas program was something that was going to be. I knew it was going to be special right from the jump once it got started. But Dr. Naismith, what can you say? He's the inventor.
That's right.
Of the game. It's an international flavor. Him being from Canada, coming up with the game based on the child's game that he played called Duck on the Rock.
Yeah.
And taking that approach and how to shoot the ball into the peach basket that they came up with 9-on-9. It almost looked like hockey and football and soccer at the same time.
Yeah.
They came up with it, and he came up obviously with some more innovations, 13 rules. And so I've used those numbers as a lot of the cats did when they composed their pieces. The number 9 obviously was 9-on-9. The
right.
13 bar phrases that I use obviously applies to the 13 original rules of basketball, which was something that I got a chance to see while I was in Lawrence.
Right.
And so I wanted to just put all of that together into one piece and just, and obviously the word basketball has a rhythm to it that obviously when you're playing a game of basketball, there's a certain rhythm that you have to have, whether it's rhythm with all 5 or it's individually. So that automatically, when you hear doom, you have that rhythm going on. And applying the Charleston rhythm underneath with the bass drum of the drums, and with Sweet Georgia Brown, that's also another element that I put into it, along with some of the things that you may find in basketball: the fast break, the two-man game, the passing game,
the
5-on-5, just interplay amongst each other, the sudden change of possession, the phrasing just working in and out like that. So it's all in there if you just pay.
And it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's completely swinging, man. And I don't think there's not a better movement to kick it off. With obviously the inventor of the game, honoring the inventor of the game, James Naismith. Right. And then I love the way that you incorporated the very, very witty way you incorporated the title of it, The Wise Guy, as the Y, the letter Y, because of his association with the YMCA. So that's just, man, you approached it from so many different angles and had so many different elements of his life and career and the sport in it. So I want to congratulate you on a wonderful, wonderful composition. And I also wanted to bring up, you also arranged a movement in the Rock Chalk Suite. And I believe it was it Paul Nedzella's, was it Third Quarter? Is that right? Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about arranging Paul's composition. So did he provide you with basically a lead sheet, essentially, of the tune?
Yeah, he provided me with a lead sheet and just an idea where he was coming from with it. And he got my input of what Nick Collison was about, a piece of Nick Collison. And looking at him play while he was at Kansas versus while he was in the NBA with the Thunder, Oklahoma City, and Seattle, by the way.
Right.
When the Supersonics were still in the NBA. When he was playing at Kansas, he had this, I say a unicorn type of a game. He's he upper 200s, 240, 250, maybe even 260. But he had a game, he had a touch from the perimeter. So he could play outside, he could play inside, he could bang with the big boys, get rebounds and play defensive all that he wants, and he could score the ball inside or outside. So I thought I know that was probably one of the things Roy Williams was looking for when he was coaching them at the time, along with Kirk Heinrich, by the way, Sioux City, Iowa. But, when he got to the NBA, the scoring kind of went down. It was one game, Phoenix Suns, that he had. I think he had a 29-point career high.
Yeah.
But for the most part in the NBA, he was more of the, just taking charges, getting rebounds, and, defensive stopper, that kind of game. So the scoring kind of went away. But at the same time, he was appreciated, especially in the locker room. He was one of the guys. He was named Mr. Thunder on the team because he was the guy that epitomized professionalism in the locker room. He did community outreach out when he was in OKC and when he was in Seattle. So he's definitely somebody who should be celebrated. And what we did with 3-4, the third quarter, is Paul put it in 3-4 as opposed to 4-4. He wore the number 4, by the way. And so I thought about putting the melody. He gave me the melody, but I thought about putting it in flutes.
Yeah, the instrumentation of it's very unique. Yeah.
So I put the melody up top, and then I put in the second part of it, I put us trombones and tenor saxophones, basically like a fall within the melody going on as a counter melody, and kind of had that as signifying somebody taking the charge or somebody doing the dirty work down low.
Nice.
So got that juxtaposition of things happening, and Paul came up with a very nice melody to play on top of and to just to listen to in general.
Yeah, man, that's great. Yeah, that's beautiful, man. So you had a major role in not only The Wise Guy, you composed and arranged that. You arranged Third Quarter, composed by Paul Nedzella, in honor of Nick Collison. And then also something that I think one of the, I was just thinking about this, in both of Sherman Irby's compositions, you have a key role. So in The Truth, we get to hear your amazing vocal talents. And man, that is definitely one of my favorite movements of the entire suite. And tell me a little bit, how long, you've been singing since you were so young, right? Is that right?
I was singing when I was coming out of the womb. I sang according to her. So I'm gonna stick by that story. It's a good story.
Beautiful, man. Singing when you were coming out of the womb. I love it. And it's such just a great blues, just a slow blues that's just so soulful. And, I'm remembering when you were, during the recording session, when you were singing at Frederick P. Rose Hall in Rose Theater, it was just so great to see the vibe of the band, everybody just on stage in that natural setting. And the way it came out was just magical, man. And so congratulations on your vocal talents as well. It's amazing.
Appreciate it. It felt like we were, like you said, we did a recording session in rows. It still felt like we were in a concert.
Yeah.
So that extra pressure on it just for, trying to get things right. And it was also a chance to let the donors and everybody that contributed to Rock Suite, and as well as some of the luminaries that we highlighted, like Walt Wesley.
Yeah. Yeah, Lynette Woodard and Walt.
So
yeah,
it was good for them to see how we work, and it was kind of related to the way that they work on the court
exactly,
whether as a player. So that was also a great bonus that we got to have along with that. And so Singing the Truth was, thanks to Sherman Irby, piece of cake.
Nice, man. And then also, in the ponderous pachyderm of the planks, that features the entire trombone section, right?
Right.
And
that's right.
And you guys are just trading solos throughout pretty much almost the entire movement, and that is just one of the more entertaining movements as well.
So Vincent Gardner, Elliot Mason, shout out to them. We have 3 totally different styles of playing, but when we're playing the blues, it's a universal language. You can't go wrong with the blues in any form and any fashion, whether it's slow, whether it's fast, whether it's complex, or whether it's it's concrete. So
man, the blues. And just for clarification, so The Truth was in honor of Paul Pierce, obviously The Truth, just for folks that are watching. And then the ponderous pachyderm of the planks was in honor of the great Clyde LaVellette. That was one of his truly unique nicknames. And going back to the blues, man, we've been talking about the blues a lot actually as a staff here because, blues, one of the tenets, the foundations of blues music is persistent optimism in the face of adversity. And, that's what, we're facing right now, not only globally with the pandemic, but just as you were saying, acknowledging in the United States right now from a social justice standpoint. And tell me, have you stayed creative during these times? Have there been any specific projects that you've been working on, or do you have a daily routine that you follow?
I try to stay abreast of what's happening in the in the United States and in the world. Just trying to, there is a balance of it that I have to have. We're all human, so it's like only so much that we can take, but we still, like you said, the persistence and the perseverance has to be there in order for change to happen.
No question.
I actually just finished writing something and getting some notes together about a video that I'm going to do in the next few minutes that discusses freedom and
beautiful
has to have, what we need to be as a people to realize our freedoms, whatever they may be, whether it's a personal freedom, civil freedom, religious freedom, moral freedom. There's all different types of things that we're all fighting for. But it's easy to throw in the towel. But I think just the perseverance that you have to have in order to fight whatever fight that you're fighting has to be there, or else the change is not going to come.
Man, you couldn't have said it any better. And I'll look forward to seeing that video you make too. Ooh. So let's talk a little bit about the most recent album release by Jazz at Lincoln Center by Blue Engine Records, which features an entire suite composed and arranged by you. Right. So tell us a little about that project.
Yeah, it's called the 50s, a Prism. And I came up with that title because I was reminded of the time when I was at the Georgia Governor's Honors Program when I was a rising junior. And it was held at Valdosta State University, where I ended up going to get my bachelor's degree from. And it's a 6-week program laid out for students that had different majors. You had sock stud major, science major, brass major. I ended up being a jazz major with a minor in phys ed, so in fitness. But nice. One of the things that the music department did was they had Prism concerts. And what happens with a Prism concert is that a concert would start probably in the middle of the stage, and then the next act would happen right after that at another area of the stage, whether it might be a balcony or it might be the back of the stage, it might be like a loft or somewhere. but you always had to keep your eyes open because you never knew where the next act was going to come from. And so that reminded me of that. And I use that term of Prism because the 50s was the golden section, the golden era to me of jazz, because you had so many people from the 50s, early 50s and late 50s, all mid 50s and 80s, had all the different periods all there together. You had the swing era, you had bebop, you had cool, you had hard bop, you had third stream, you had Dance Mania with Tito Puente, and Machito. You had all of that going on all in the same period. And so I had a lot to choose from in terms of, making compositions and pieces. And it was challenging in some instances because we were only able to use who we had. I invited my cousin, Antoine Kendrick, to play along with us on a few of the tunes.
A member of the Georgia Horns, right? He's a member of the Georgia Horns.
That's right, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. I see what you did there. That album is also out, Live Edition.
Yes. So we got to talk about that too.
Yeah, but the 50s, man, it was fun because I tried to merge different periods and different genres, subgenres there together, and it came out great. And that was the second time with me doing being an EP, well, a producer of some sort, and
nice.
Putting all the sounds in there together and just trying to mix and make it as great as possible. So that was fun to do that as well.
Well, congratulations on that release, man. It's just incredible. The diversity of the genres and how you meld them all together, and the transitions and everything are just it's mind blowing in terms of how not only beautiful and complex, but also just enjoyable. It's enjoyable music, and something that I want to bring up before we close, before I ask you the last question, is something from Rock Chalk Suite. So we're gonna make sure everybody in the comments of this interview, links to both the 50s Prism, to be able to listen to that, as well as Rock Chalk Suite. But one of my favorite enjoyable memories of that is when the voice of the Jayhawks, Brian Hanni, was introducing you.
As if we're at Allen Fieldhouse and they're charging onto the floor.
You are the tallest member of the Jazz Lincoln Center Orchestra. You're 6'6", right?
He's so tall he might guard Walt Wesley. Very nice.
Yeah, so he, I remember him saying, the front line anchored by, from Thompson, Georgia, right? And then you came out and you showed your shooting form.
Yeah,
so that was beautiful.
That was, man. I think that came maybe a day, or maybe not even a day, maybe a half a day. It's like, hey, maybe
that's right.
The Jayhawks to introduce everybody, and we gave our vitals and everything, and and he did his thing, man. I still play it to this day to some of my friends and some
on the trombone and the vocals at 6 feet 6 inches tall, Chris Crenshaw.
So
that was, you're absolutely right. That was like less than 24 hours before the gig. That was just before you got to see the original rules of basketball, because he was over at the complex,
right,
and said, hey, if I can help you out with anything, let me know. You guys want to be introduced tomorrow night? So shout out to Brian Hanni, voice of the Jayhawks.
Yes, appreciate it. Thank you so much, Brian.
Hey man, so Chris, just to close this out, man, just out of curiosity, what are you missing the most during this time period of quarantine and this time of COVID? What are you missing the most?
Obviously, I miss playing. I miss being around the fellas. I miss being around, just people in a musical sense. There's only so much that we can do virtually, but there's nothing like the camaraderie of your bandmates and being there and rehearsing and joking around and being serious and having all these moments and traveling and going from place to place. You never know what you miss until it's gone. Only if it's temporary. I'm praying that it's temporary, but you can, there's only so much that you can do on a virtual level. So we all still try to keep in contact. We keep in contact every Thursday.
Nice.
To catch up on things and what we need to do as far as in Jazz and Lincoln Center. But at the same time, I'm getting a lot of time with my family. that I missed out on. And usually there's like, we have Essentially Ellington going on sometimes when my daughter's birthday is on May 9th, and EE during that time. My mom's birthday is on May 22nd, so we were able to do some quarantine parades for them, and surprise my daughter with a 4-wheeler that she's riding on now. And
nice.
So I'm getting a lot of quality time with the family that I've been missing. So I'm very, very appreciative of that.
That's beautiful, man. And you know, we at the Lied Center can't wait until we can welcome you back, the Jazz Lincoln Center Orchestra, back to the Lied Center. You know, technically we have a date booked for the fall, you know, here, but you know, whenever it's safe, again, we can't wait to welcome you back with open arms. And man, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today. And you know, everybody, make sure to check out the new album, The Prism, that Mr. Chris Crenshaw composed, arranged, and conceived of, and also the Rock Chalk Suite, which Mr. Crenshaw was featured on multiple times on that particular album. So, man, thank you so much. Best to your family. Please stay safe and healthy, man. And yeah,
you too. Take care. God bless.